So I wanted to jump on real quick. There's some things in life that are very inevitable. That a lot of times people say death and taxes. Another inevitability event of life is suffering. And I was reminded of what St. Augustine, I believe it was. He said that, that let me see how you put it. God has one son that was incarnate or sinless. That's what it was. God has one son on earth that was ever sinless, but all of his sons suffered. So he has one son on earth that was sinless, but all his sons suffered. So the scripture says that now are we the sons of God and all of that. So all of us who are on this earth and in this life, we suffer, regardless of your race, regardless of what nation you live in, your socioeconomic status. Even rich people suffer. It's hard for people to believe that. Sometimes riches is suffering for some people. Some people long for the days that they weren't rich, the days they weren't famous. For them, it's like a burden that they have to bear all the time, every day. So suffering is an inevitable part of life and an inevitable part of living on the earth. So if we can't avoid it, then we have to find ways to take some of the edge off. What happens to a lot of us is that trying to take the edge off, we fall into the trap of overindulging on sugar or food, fried foods. We overindulge in sexual activity. We overindulge in salty food or sugary food. We overindulge in alcohol or indulge in drugs or any such things. Because some of the suffering, and the suffering doesn't always have to be just you're being killed for because you're a Christian. Sometimes suffering is just it's just like life. You had a romantic breakup from you might get a bad health diagnosis. You might suffer with some kind of chronic physical or mental illness. Sometimes the suffering is at work. This channel is primarily for Christian entrepreneurs and professionals, and a lot of that is filled with suffering. Sometimes you have a bad client, sometimes you have a bad boss, and it can cause suffering in our lives. So suffering is inevitable. You know how, like, what was his name? The villain in the Marvel movies. He says that he was inevitable. Suffering for us is inevitable. So, we're all wandering around trying to figure out a way to take some of the edge off in our lives. So here's a few tips that I've learned, that I've implemented in my own life, that help with taking some of that edge off, that'll still build you up spiritually and naturally, and help you in your life not be overcome with anxiety and all of those things. The first one is take a walk in nature. Go out and get into the trees. Those of us who live in cold climates, sometimes it's not always a warm day, but even going out in the cold sometimes and taking a walk, sometimes it's beneficial. But get out into nature, get amongst some trees. Trees emit, some studies have shown health, I can't remember if it's pheromones or whatever it is, but they emit certain things that are healthy for us, and that can help us. So get out into nature, take walks in the park, take walks in your, down your neighborhood or whatever. Get out into nature. Second thing is practice altruism, or helping others. Find somebody, even if it's not just monetarily, but just find somebody that you can go to and just say, hey, you guys are amazing, or you do a great job. Hey, you look nice today. if you just encourage them, sometimes that can be enough. You know, or if you're volunteering at a local shelter or something, or volunteering at a local pet adoption place. You know, all of those types of things. Or if you don't have time to volunteer, you know, just keep it simple and, you know, show kindness to somebody or encourage somebody. Third thing is music. Listen to music. You want to listen to certain types of music. Don't go put in the gangster rap. Don't go put in the drill music, and you know, and then wonder why you feeling even more angry than you already was. But you know, find some. Paul tells us, you know, psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Find you some psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, or you can find some upbeat songs. You know, take Rocky's "Eye of the Tiger" or something. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But just find some music that is uplifting. Sometimes even some conscious rap, maybe. You know, for me, a lot of times I find that uplifting, even for me. It might not necessarily be gospel, but I find it to kind of take my mind to another place. So what do we have? Walk in nature, altruism. Change our diet. We want to definitely make sure we're eating more fruits and vegetables. That helps as well. Helps the body to feel better. You know, a lot of times the fried food, overly sugary food, salty foods can make us feel a certain way. High carbohydrates and all of that stuff. So we want to, you know, eat more varieties of vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, just to aid and make our body produce more good feeling chemicals in our brain. So we also let's see what else. There was one other thing. I know I'm missing one, but I'm just jumping in here just to talk about it. But yeah, so all of those. The main one. Practice the Jesus prayer for sure. Hesychastic prayer, contemplative prayer, all of that things, and do it with breath work. Sometimes even if you do it with if you hum it, if you sing it, it stimulates the vagus nerve in your body, which gives you feelings of feeling good, feeling better. So definitely want to practice the Jesus prayer as well. So all of these things can help us. And get into community. That's what I was forgetting. We want to make sure that we get around people, and not just any people. We want to get around positive people. I highly recommend, and even science has said, we highly recommend being in church or being in some type of religious community, so that you feel a sense of belonging. That also helps with, you know, taking some of the edge off of some of the suffering that happens in life. So all of these things we want to practice and utilize in our lives to help with the suffering. So hope that helps you, and I will see you in the next video.